We are here at the most incredible property. This is Dorado Beach, Ritz-Carlton Reserve on World Environment Day. What?
I said, whoa, that's
Whoa!
exciting.
So exciting. So I can't believe I'm here in Puerto Rico with the world famous marine biologist, Richard Murphy.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. We can pass on the world famous, but it's certainly nice talking to you.
It's so lovely. And you have worked for the last 50 years with the Cousteau Society. Is that right?
Cousteau team, yes.
The Cousteau team.
Jean-Michel's organization now is called Ocean Future Society.
Ocean Futures Society.
Uh-huh.
And so today we are celebrating one of the incredible ambassador programs that's here at the Ritz-Carlton Reserve. And I know you were at the very first one in Grand Cayman.
Yes, yes, back in the early 2000s. And so it's Ambassadors of the Environment. We've chosen that name because we want the people who experience the ocean through the eyes of, in a sense, the Cousteau team and learn and be inspired from it to go home and make a difference, as ambassadors should. So we all hope that they live a little more gently on the planet, promote a little more sustainable lifestyles, and do what they can to help ensure a better future for us all.
It's so incredible. You have worked so hard to share with people your love of the ocean and the environment. And we saw today this incredible program where we had partners from all across Puerto Rico sharing about what they're currently doing.
I was quite impressed with the people who were restoring the forest and planting corals out on the reef and monitoring the turtles, the leatherback turtles, the gigantic turtles that come here on the beaches and reproduce. So yeah, this is an exciting place. It's just beautiful to have real mountains and up that way and real ocean out here.
I know, right behind us.
Yeah, and it's a perfect place, particularly for young people or people who aren't particularly comfortable in the water, to have a nice, calm, tranquil place where there are corals and fish and, you know, the basic elements of a healthy coral reef here.
Right, and for anyone that's unsure, so there's many Ritz-Carltons around the world, but the Ritz-Carlton Reserve, I think there's 5, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And you have the ambassador program at all of them now?
At
Grand Cayman,
Puerto Rico, Kapalua in Hawaii, the Maldives, one property called Zadoon at San Jose del Cabo in Mexico, and a couple of others we're discussing.
Oh, more to come.
Yeah, we hope so, yeah. And Costa Rica and another one in Mexico.
Oh my goodness, it's so exciting. And you go diving at all the properties.
Yes, to develop a program, the first thing we need to do is understand the local environment. If we're going to be taking people into the natural wonders of the sea and the forests and all that, we better have spent some time there ourselves. So I go there, I learn from the local experts and, you know, explore, and then take photographs so that we can introduce some of our activities with a nice little PowerPoint show, and then develop a series of probably between 15 and 20 activities for kids, for groups of people, and for adults, families and adults. Okay, and so those are the activities then that are offered to the guests, and then they sign up, and then we hire naturalists, of course, and those naturalists have a degree in natural science or something like that, and then they're trained by our team, and, you know, having a good solid college background, and then having some fine tuning with our program, and then they are the ones that implement the program, and they're the face of Jean-Michel and our team to the public.
It's wonderful. I just loved watching the kids today planting the trees after your talk, and they were just so excited to be here. And I heard another gentleman talking to you about his son going swimming with whales, and the kids are so excited and the parents are so excited.
And it's interesting, we have found in many cases where the kids come on our program and the parents will say, fine, we're on a vacation, you know, let the kids go off. And the kids come back to the hotel room and the parents going, whoa, you're having more fun than we are. We think we're going to participate. And then in other examples, the kids have learned things from us and with us, and then they say, look, you know, forget the plastic bottles. We've got to eliminate plastics, and we need to do composting at home, and, you know, change our ways so that the kids, in a sense, become teachers of their parents sometimes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did this evolve? How did you first come up with this idea to start these programs?
Well, it's interesting because Jacques Cousteau, of course, was passionate about exploring and educating the public through making documentary TV programs.
Oh, of course, the TV
And
programs.
so that was what really introduced the world public to the ocean through the films that they saw, because back in the 50s and 60s, he was the only one seriously making underwater documentary films. So that was perfect. And eventually, as Jean-Michel and I became more involved, I began in 1968. Of course, Jean-Michel had been involved forever. There were people who were saying, well, I'm a member of the Cousteau Society and I want to come on your expedition.
Oh.
We said, forget it. We're making a movie. We don't have space or time for a bunch of tourists. But Jean-Michel and I realized there were a lot of people who did want to experience the ocean through the eyes of the Cousteau team and have a taste of expedition. So Jean-Michel and I started some programs. We had our real jobs of, making movies and doing all the other things that we were involved with. But we would take a little bit of time off each summer and have these educational programs. Initially, it was like college students.
Okay.
Because in those days everybody said, oh, I'm going to be a marine biologist, and we're all going to live under the sea, and the ocean has unlimited resources, and that's the future.
Okay.
Well, that didn't actually happen. And so we wanted to give people a sense of the ocean from its own intrinsic value. Not that we're all going to go get rich or own a living, but we live on a water planet. It's really important to understand how our planet works. And so the goal of those programs was to connect people so that they would come home changed, as we were changed when we came home from those expeditions. So it was much more education at a deeper level. And then on the other side, on the practical side, it was not everybody is ever going to get a job being a marine biologist.
Right.
We need to think about, well, there's law in the sea, there's the arts, photography, and movie making, and there are a bunch of other disciplines that are involved with the ocean that aren't just marine biology. And so we would invite scientists and a whole bunch of different people from different disciplines related to the ocean to come in and talk to our groups. Well, that worked fine, and we went off and developed all kinds of programs over the years. And then we felt, we really should be reaching kids who are, first, some of them who are living in cities and never going to experience the sea because they're trapped in the inner city. And we also want to reach kids who are going to be the future decision makers.
Of
leaders.
course. Smart.
So for the, quote, city folks, we have created a program on Catalina Island in the late 1990s for school kids to come over. And it's a camp during the school year. It's real school. And then they come and spend the night there for a few days. And so that was very successful. And
I went there.
oh my gosh. Really?
That's part of why I love scuba diving, because
Really?
I went there from school.
Oh my
the
gosh,
CNA
how
program.
interesting. Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, then we're
California kids.
It worked.
It worked. Good
There-
job.
there you are. So anyway, after that program was up and running, there was a new Ritz-Carlton being under construction in Grand Cayman.
Yes.
And the general manager called us up. I talked to her, and she said, "Oh, we want a program like that on our hotel."
Oh.
I thought, I don't know. Is that a hotel? A big, fancy bunch of rich people? I don't know. and she said, because I expressed I said, we're tree huggers, we're whale huggers, I mean, we're kind of not too fancy here. And she said, you just told me you wanted to reach the future decision makers of the world. Remember, the kids who come to our hotel are very likely to get a good education and be leaders in business, industry, politics. Do you want to miss an opportunity to have access to that audience? Remember, they're very well insulated. How's that?
How's
And I
that?
go, well,
She was making your
I
dream
can-
come true.
she sort of
Train the
put
future
me in my
leaders.
place. And so we developed a program there just for kids.
Okay.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, the kids would come back to the room and the parents would hear their stories and say, oh my God, the kid's having more fun on holiday than we are.
And I think we have some
Oh,
examples of the.
Yeah. And so, well, this is an example of how we share the program with people. Say, here's what you're going to see right there, just feet, yards away, and you're going to see, even if you're not a good ocean person, you're going to get in the water and you're going to discover beautiful little things like that. Those are
You get to
worms.
hold up a little higher. Perfect.
And some people go, wait, that's a worm?
That's a worm.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there. So, we have the nice little logo and
Beautiful
ambassadors of the
logo.
environment and, all of this material. But this is just stuff. The real message is getting people out in
the water.
in the real environment. So that has worked. That worked well enough in Grand Cayman to then it became a family program.
Okay.
And then sometimes there aren't any families or kids there, but they have conferences. Big corporate groups.
Oh.
Well, they're sitting inside all day.
Yep.
That's terrible. So we'll take them on excursions. We have our naturalists. And for example, if the people are involved in marketing and advertising, we'd say, oh, marketing and advertising, it was done first on the reef. Think about all the colors of those fish. They are advertising. They are communicating a message, which may be, oh, we're the same species. Come over here, sweetie. Or stay away. This is my area. Get out of here.
That's
Okay.
true.
And then some of them are, what do they say? Well, we'll just say they're into IT, really information storage and retrieval. How does that relate to the reef? All of those organisms out there have to reproduce. Inside every cell of those organisms is information. It has to be stored perfectly. It then has to be retrieved perfectly, and it has to be transcribed perfectly into make a baby, make a replica of the adult. So in terms of information storage and retrieval, we think that our computers are the world's greatest thing. Living things out there are far better in terms of what we would call IT. Isn't that interesting?
I love it.
So there are just all kinds of, I like to say, for almost every discipline or occupation, there's an analog on the coral reef. Think about drugs, pharmaceuticals. Oh, the ocean is full of animals that can't move. Well, if they can't move, somebody's going to eat them. But they don't all get eaten. Why? Because they have chemical defenses. They are protecting themselves with chemicals. And what is a pharmaceutical to us? Antibiotics. It's protecting ourselves from critters that want to come and eat us. So anyway, there's all kinds of stories and ways of sharing the wonder of the sea in a way that relates to the people, whatever their discipline or their focus is.
Oh my goodness, I can see how come the program is so successful because you're so interesting and the naturalists I met today communicate so well with the children and the adults. And you have a book even about cities of under the sea.
Yeah, we first developed those kinds of stories, years and years ago, and then eventually decided just to, very simple, we got to train the naturalists.
Yes.
Well, what are you going to give them to train them with? Well, a whole bunch of pictures and activities. Well, why not put it in a book and get it over with? So that's what the book is. That was the origin of the book.
Well,
but I eventually published it because pretty pictures and people like stories. So yeah, it is using the metaphor of a city to explain how a coral reef functions.
Okay, well, I can't wait until September when I'm a published author like you.
Oh, so tell me about your book.
Well, my book's coming in September. It's called
Yes.
Brave-ish, and it talks a lot about
Brave fish?
brave. Oh, I like what you did there. It talks a lot about how I learned to scuba dive.
Oh, wonderful.
Because I love, love, love the ocean, and I'm so excited that you have this program here and that we're together for World Environment Day, and people can come to the Ritz-Carlton Reserve. They can participate in the program with their kids, the grandparents, any generation, and be together and just grow their love and help to save our planet.
That's right. If everybody goes home inspired and we hope motivated, then they will be ambassadors of the environment.
Ambassadors for change.
There we go.
Oh my
That's it.
goodness. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And thank you to you and your whole team for this really incredible program.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.